to the channel for our final color along part in Fragile World by Kobe Rosannas. And today's final part we are going to be doing the white axolotl up here, which is the same process I used for this white axolotl down here. Now I really couldn't do both axolotls on video because coloring white is very difficult, especially in animals, because white is never really white. It reflects different colors, and a white axolotl is actually an albino axolotl, so it has touches of pink and red, but it cannot have too much, otherwise it looks like a red creature, which is not at all what I'm going for. So whilst I'm not overly thrilled with how this white axolotl has turned out, I feel it lacks a bit of depth and dimension to it, but at this stage I'm not 100% sure how to fix it. So I thought that I will just show you what I know. We are going to be using some pinks, some peachy shades, some brownish grays. So let's have a look. PC 929 pink, PC 1018 pink rose, PC 927 light peach, PC 1080 beige sienna, PC 1092 nectar, PC 1076 90% French grey. Now I'm going to use this very sparingly, but I'm hoping it will help add a bit of depth and dimension. I'm also hoping that the light peach will add a bit of life to the axolotl and remove some of that 2D flatness. The nectar and the beige sienna is also to help build up the shadows. So let's get started and see how we go. To add extra white to the axolotl, I will be using a white Posca pen or possibly a white Sakura jelly roll, but we will do that at the very end when we are more complete with our coloring. So I'm going to zoom you in. Right, that should work. And we're going to take our, I think we're going to go with our light peach, PC 927. And again, I'm just going to follow Kobe Rosanna's shading and see how that works. He's very good with it. And I'm going to try and leave where he's got white patches. I'm going to leave that white, and I'm going to try and use the white of the paper for the whiteness of the axolotl. And I'm really hoping that that's going to also help. Now the frills on the axolotl are actually the Axolotls Gills. So these are going to be a lot more pink than the rest of the axolotl, because of the amount of blood vessels that will be flowing underneath the axolotl's skin here. Now if you look at other albino creatures in nature, their eyes are often very red, their feet will be quite red, their ears will be quite red, and that is just because of the amount of blood vessels that are nearest to the skin. And all albino animals have is actually just a lack of pigment, which is why they have that reddish and white look to them. So here I'm not going to really worry too much about texture. What I'm really aiming for with these axolotls is to really get more the shading right than to add texture. But we will try and add where we can. It's just if I add texture on all these lines, it's going to look very pink, and we don't want that. And we will try and also build up the folds of the skin here. If I'm really honest, I'm not actually feeling very confident about doing these white axolotls. And if I was to redo this page, I would probably just stick with the black ones because they are much easier to color. All right, let's put in a bit of shadow. So beige sienna PC 1080. We want to use that pink sparingly, but enough that it looks pinkish. So over here is all very dark, so we're going to focus tinges of pink in there, but mainly grays and nectars. Now the nectar has got touches of pink to it, but it is predominantly on the muted side, so it's like dark but not very bright, which will be great for our shadows. So I've chosen more of the colors you would use for skin tone because I know that these colors, they blend well with each other, and I'm trying to implement some of the similar ways of coloring if I was to do skin tone. So I'm working on building the contours of the body. I'm not really worrying too much about excessive detail. I just want to build the shape. Again, I apologize for any noise you hear in the background. My children are playing computer games and TV games, but I can hear they are quite energetic, so sometimes it comes through on the films. But if you do hear that above my voice, then I do apologize. We are currently on school break. Okay, so now let's just bring some of this up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in with that nectar now. And you're going to see it's got a bit of that pinkish look to it, which we can get away with because it's there, it's giving those tones of pinks, but it is not giving that vibrant pink where we kind of go, oh my gosh. So what I need to do is be careful I don't put too much of this. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in a bit more pink, and I'm just going to build it up very gently because I really don't want to dominate the pink. So this is the pink rose. Again, it's a soft pink. I'm just adding it in gently. Trying to make sure nothing is dominated, but that there's enough pink to hint at our axolotl. We also want enough white for it to show that it's white. And like I said, showing white is really, really difficult because of everything else that's under it. So if you would prefer to not do the white axolotls but just carry on with black axolotls, then I totally understand, and I think then go for it. You know, whatever will keep it fun and exciting for you, do that. Right, now I want to have some of this pink, and I want it in here. And I'm going just in my shadows with the heavier pink. And then over here in its eye, it needs a lot more pink because I do remember seeing around an axolotl's eye, it does have more of that pinky look to it. Right, for the frills we can just press a bit harder. Sorry, not the frills, the gills. So you want to go dark in the tips and light down, so that the tips of the gills are darker than the rest. Now, what we found out, because my one son actually decided to go and do a little bit more research on axolotls. Axolotls are only from one location and in the world, and that is located in South America. I don't remember the name. They have, I think, a few thousand left in the wild, from what people can tell. As far as I understand, axolotls are often wanted as pets, which I don't think is helpful, but axolotls don't have a complete metamorphosis. So I think they are born tadpoles, but then they don't really reach adulthood unless they really want to. They kind of stay in this sort of section here where the gills are still out. They still have that tadpole-like body, the legs, so they're still in that tadpole state, and they don't actually come out on land. They stay in the water. They also have incredible regenerative powers, so it's actually quite grim. Axolotls will, especially when they're young, they will actually eat each other, and what happens is they will chomp off whatever bit of the other axolotl, and then that body part that got chomped off or chewed or eaten will actually regrow, which is both gross and cool at the same time. I'll let you decide. So that was quite interesting to know. I think they live quite a long time as well, a good few years. And I mean, I think it's more than 5 years. I stand to correction, but I think it is more than 5 years. Alright, so now I'm going to bring in a little bit of this 90% French grey PC1076. And I just want to build up the shadowed areas here. I just wanted to the gills to stand out a bit, so I'm just bringing this grey in between the fronds of the gills, and then back in with my pink just on the tips. Already that axolotl looks so much better than the other one I did. So there you have it. I test on my own and I give you the best. I give you the best I can figure out. Alright, so now we're going to take our white pencil and we're going to just blend this, and it will soften it a little bit. And what I noticed when I was looking at pictures of white axolotls, they do have these brownish elements in their shadowed areas. So creating them to have a bit more of that beige sienna, that light peach, just helps to add a bit more to them. And it neutralizes any of that bright pink. Some of this 90% French grey here, the base, and then that nectar This is that 90% French grey. And I'm just wanting to draw in these folds. I don't want a very deep shadow line, but I do want to be there. That was the pink, and now the light pink or the blush pink. The pink here. And the blush pink. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong one. That was nectar. Blush pink. We want blush pink, not nectar. And then your white pencil just to knock it back again. I think it needs a little bit more pink here. It's such a tricky thing to balance the pinks with the non-pinks to create a really pretty picture, but I think that is probably the best I can give you. And when in doubt, just keep adding a few more layers. And all it will do is it will just pop the color out for you. Alright, so then a wide uniball signo pen. Right, and that is our white axolotl. And there we have it. We have completed our double page spread in Kirby Rosanna's books, Fragile World. I think it has turned out spectacularly. and I'm very, very pleased with how it has turned out. I think this white axolotl has turned out a little bit better than this one. So if you use the same process here as here, they will both look really, really great. So thank you so much for joining me. I've loved doing this color along with you. Thank you for your support. Please do like, subscribe, comment below, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, happy coloring.